Hi, my name is Sarah Belanger, and I'm the writer and founder of anchoredmomlife.com, where I write articles on the topics of marriage, motherhood, military life, and ministry. I am so excited to be teaming up with Ignite Women for this year's Advent Reading Devotionals. Now, today's Advent reading is only 2 verses long, but there's a lot that we can learn in such a short passage. So grab that cup of coffee or cocoa and let's dive right in to Matthew chapter 2. Verses 1 and 2 say, "Now after Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea in the days of Herod the king, behold, wise men from the east came to Jerusalem saying, 'Where is he who has been born King of the Jews? For we saw his star when it rose, and have come to worship him.'" Now, we've probably all heard that song, "We Three Kings," and it's a pretty song. However, there's really not much truth in the title. While they gifted Jesus with 3 gifts, the gold, the frankincense, and myrrh, there were probably much more than just 3 men. In fact, some scholars suggest that they might have even traveled with a large caravan totaling upwards of 300 people. And they weren't exactly kings either. These wise men were also known as magi, where we get our words from magistrate or magician. They were pagan Gentiles or non-Jewish people who studied astrology, searching the skies and stars for significance in life. They were philosophers of their day, just looking to understand. They charted stars and planets, and they believed that anything unusual or spectacular held a special meaning. In fact, there was a common ancient belief that a new star appeared at the time of a ruler's birth. This star signified to them that a king was born, so they went on their search for the King of the Jews. Now, Jesus was actually born in Bethlehem. However, you can understand the wise men's logic in going to Jerusalem. I mean, where else would a king be but in the capital city where the current king Herod ruled? Makes sense. They saw Jesus' star and they left the comfort of their homes, traveling something like 500 to 1,000 miles over a few months, which cost them time, money, comfort, those extravagant gifts, possibly even fellowship with family and friends who didn't make the journey. And in those days, it really even could have cost them their lives. But they wanted and they were determined to find Jesus and to worship him. There are some significant truths that we can learn today from their story. First of all, we learn that God is calling to us. Now, at the time, Jewish people were waiting for the Messiah. But even in these verses from the beginning of the New Testament, we see that God is calling to all people. God reached out to the wise men in their own way. When he sent that star shining across the night sky, he was speaking their language, meeting them where they were at. And you know what? God still does that. It could be through other people or circumstances that we go through, but he is calling out to us, showing us that Christ the Messiah is for all people. This is true even for the people who think that they are out of his reach. Many people think that they're not good enough or that they have made too many mistakes in their life, but that is simply not true. God says that his grace is sufficient for you, for his power is made perfect in weakness. And much like that bright star seen by the wise men, Christ followers are called on to be a light to those around us, to spread God's love. The second part of this story is that we are to follow him. Not only did the star convince the wise men that a king was born, but it prompted them into action. They committed to leaving their comforts behind to seek out Christ. The wise men, went looking for him, and we are to do the same thing. Spend time reading God's word, the Bible, learning truths, and gaining wisdom. Talk to God through time in prayer and in singing praises to him. Join a Bible study with others who can encourage you, but also challenge you to grow. Become a member of a local church where you can be part of a community. And commit to a missions trip locally or around the world. And discover what you're passionate about and how you can use your gifts and talents to bless others while being a light to God. But don't just do these things because you feel you have to, or to just go through the motions. I mean, we can have a knowledge of God and his commands, or even just sit in a church service weekly and still not be seeking a relationship with him or acting on what God has called us to do. And it's easy, especially this time of year, to focus on all the things that need to be done. The decorating, the baking, the shopping, the wrapping, the Christmas parties and plays. And don't get me wrong, those are all good. They're not bad things. But don't lose sight of the ways that God is calling to you. Open yourself to God's leading and then put that faith into action. I encourage you this Christmas and all year round to look for the ways that God is calling out to you and then follow him. Merry Christmas.